Apply.
Coverage of the war as Fox reports right now.
Live from the world headquarters of Fox News, the most powerful name in news, the Fox Report with Shepard Smith. Fair news, balanced news now.
It's 7 o'clock in the east, 4:30 a.m. Tuesday in Afghanistan, where more U.S. commandos have sneaked into the country to help hunt down Osama. That from the Pentagon, which says the terrorist mastermind is running out of places to hide. The Pentagon says the terror mastermind supporters are still holding on to the northern city of Kunduz, even as U.S. warplanes continue to bomb there. Northern Alliance troops trying to convince Taliban fighters to switch sides. Witnesses say hardline Taliban are now killing their own, murdering Taliban fighters who appear to be defecting. And the United States military leaders say they're also targeting tunnels and caves in the south. The Bush administration says it still believes that Osama is under a rock somewhere in Afghanistan, reportedly in a 20-square-mile section somewhere in the southeast, and that and a $25 million reward could help get him out.
We have large rewards out. Incentivize a large number of people to begin crawling through those tunnels and caves looking for the bad folks.
All the bad folks are captured or killed. Secretary of State Colin Powell says this war is not over. We have Team Fox coverage tonight. War correspondent Geraldo Rivera live for us in Peshawar, Pakistan. But first to our national security correspondent, Bret Baier, live tonight at the Pentagon. Bret.
Hi, Shep. The news is tightening. We're closing in. However, it's characterized. The U.S. military is stepping up its hunt for Osama bin Laden in greater number and intensity. U.S. military sources say more than 300 additional Green Berets have been deployed to Afghanistan to conduct special reconnaissance to track down bin Laden and other al-Qaeda leaders and to further help opposition forces in their fight. Now, in recent days, U.S. Special Forces have been targeting al-Qaeda command and control centers for airstrikes with increasing success. The U.S. approach, at least for now, is to continue bombing suspected hideouts while hoping to entice local fighters to search for bin Laden on the ground. Secretary Rumsfeld says the $25 million reward put up by the U.S. government may get a large number of people to start crawling through those tunnels and caves. Now, while the reward money is one tactic in the hunt, Fox News has learned that a large number of U.S. military teams have been training for weeks to enter cave and tunnel complexes to track down Osama bin Laden. Secretary Rumsfeld indicated that those teams could be put to work in Afghanistan soon. Now, President Bush, meeting with his cabinet this afternoon, says bin Laden is constantly on the move. U.S. forces are getting closer, but don't have him cornered yet.
If our military knew where Mr. bin Laden was, he would be brought to justice. The net is getting tighter. But this is a difficult assignment. Things happened very quickly in Afghanistan recently. It went to show that our strategy was a well-thought-out strategy. But the objective is yet to be achieved, and we're not leaving until we do achieve the objective.
In the northern Afghan city of Kunduz, a major pocket of Taliban and al-Qaeda resistance remains intact. U.S. airstrikes continue to pound enemy troop locations there. Secretary Rumsfeld said the U.S. is going to avoid any deal-making that may allow enemy forces to escape. He says he wants them dead or captured, and the same goes for Taliban leader Mullah Muhammad Omar. Shep?
Bret Baier live tonight at the Pentagon. 4 Western journalists murdered in Afghanistan, according to witnesses. The group ambushed, beaten, shot, and killed. Lawlessness and chaos in many parts of the nation, according to our correspondents there. And the 4 Westerners just the latest victims of atrocities. The journalists traveling from Pakistan to the Afghan capital. That's an area now under control of the anti-Taliban forces. But as the Taliban regime loses its grip on Afghanistan, gangs of fighters loyal to al-Qaeda are said to be roaming parts of that nation. Witnesses say the armed men let the Afghan drivers go, led the journalists away, and opened fire. Our Team Fox coverage continues now with war correspondent Geraldo Rivera, live for us tonight in Peshawar, Pakistan. Geraldo, welcome to the Fox Report. Who were these journalists?
Shep, it was an outrageous quadruple homicide. Those murdered Harry Burton and Aziz Haidari of the Reuters news agency. Also Julio Fuentes and Maria Grazia. They are 2 of the most prominent print journalists working the Afghan war. Ambushed, taken out of a convoy of between 6 and 8 cars. The lead cars apparently separated somehow in that long and windy road. So approximately 50 miles east of the Afghan capital of Kabul, between the cities of Kabul and Jalalabad. In Afghanistan, suddenly the cars stopped, the gunmen came, they ordered the Western journalists out. They initially resisted, so they dragged them out. Shots were heard. Later, a driver coming from Jalalabad to Kabul found one body in the street, the body of a woman, presumably Maria Grazia of the Corriere della Sera, the Italian newspaper. She was beaten to death, apparently. The others shot. One report, the Kalashnikovs put to their heads. They were just murdered. The World Association of Newspapers is calling this deed outrageous and barbaric. It certainly is. Here in Peshawar, the hotels had emptied. All the journalists had gone up to the border in the Khyber Pass, anticipating their travels into the war-torn Afghanistan. They have subsequently returned after this quadruple homicide. Journalists killed. We don't know whether it was just lawless brigands, because law has broken down. You know that the military situation has far outpaced the political situation here. There is a power vacuum. Unclear whether these assailants were brigands working for a warlord or indeed Taliban fighters fleeing from Kabul. One report is that one of the murderers said as he was leaving, "You think the Taliban are finished? We are still in power, and we will have our revenge." Shep.
Geraldo Rivera live tonight for us in country. President Bush taking a major step today to make the skies safer, signing the Aviation and Transportation Security Act into law. The legislation orders the federal government to hire about 28,000 airport baggage screeners. Before the signing of the bill at Reagan National Airport, the president said it was aimed at making Americans more secure.
The events of September the 11th were a call to action, and the Congress has now responded. The law I will sign should give all Americans greater confidence when they fly.
It makes airport security a direct federal responsibility. So how will this bill change security procedures at airports? A law now, not a bill. And Team 5's coverage continues with Homeland Defense correspondent Catherine Herridge live in D.C. Kathy.
Chef, historic, that's how one official described the new law. With the signing ceremony at Reagan National Airport, the president strengthened airline security, and for the first time, it becomes a direct federal responsibility. Under the legislation, all 28,000 baggage screeners become federal employees within 1 year. After 3 years, airports are allowed to seek permission from the feds to opt out and return to other systems. Also, criminal background checks will be done on some 750,000 airport workers. Expanded baggage inspections are required under the law within 60 days by whatever means necessary, by hand if they have to. And all checked baggage must be screened for explosives by the end of next year. And who pays for the extra security? You do. Not a lot, though, in the big picture of things, $2.50 every time you get on board. But does the new law make a difference in time for Thanksgiving? Some analysts say not really, but as the president mentioned today, other security measures like the National Guard are already in place.
We've made funds available to the aviation industry to fortify cockpits. More federal air marshals now ride on our airplanes. The Department of Transportation instituted a zero-tolerance crackdown on security breaches.
Some analysts say fixing the system may not be easy. It will take time, and for the flying public, that's likely to mean long lines. Those explosive detection systems must be built, installed, and some critics argue they're not foolproof either. In the meantime, checking bags by hand isn't fast. We all know that, and analysts say it raises invasion of privacy issues. That said, a key issue is still the baggage screeners. One analyst told me today that he believes the private screening companies are committed to a smooth transition, but it promises to be tough all at a time when the politicians want the public to feel confident in the skies. Chef?
Catherine Herridge live in Washington. So the feds are taking over airport security, trying to make air travel safer and ease the worries of jittery travelers. But just how will the new measures affect the way you fly? Will they cause more aggravation or longer waits? And how will they affect the handicapped, particularly folks in wheelchairs? Team Fox coverage continues tonight. Steve Brown live at O'Hare International in Chicago. Steve.
Shepard, yes, this is the busiest travel week of the year for the airlines, and it comes at a time when security has been heightened, and one of the groups that's going to be strongest affected will be the handicapped. Expect to see at the airport if someone is using a cane or a set of crutches to get around, and it's made out of hollow metal tubing, that a security guard may ask to disassemble it to check and see if there's anything hidden inside the tubing. For wheelchairs, those that you need them to get around, those folks may have to come out of those wheelchairs so that the wheelchairs can be inspected. Basically, if you come to the airport and expect to air travel, then you should expect to be searched, maybe multiple times. Your baggage could be x-rayed. You could be personally pat-down searched at any point while you're in the airport. And also, they may go through your carry-on or through your luggage at any given time. The big advice for folks who are taking a look at the holiday traveling season this year, in light of the new security measures, the advice is travel light.
They need to keep what they carry on the airplane with them down to an absolute minimum. Don't bring a carry-on bag if you don't need to do it. Leave laptop computers, things that can slow you down getting through the security checkpoints.
Kind of a conundrum would that present, not knowing whether he's dead or whether he's somehow escaped?
Well, I think we would rather not settle for that. Most important thing is to take him out of the business, and to take Al-Qaeda out of the business, and to take every other terrorist in the region and elsewhere coming against us, coming against our friends and allies, out of the business. Now, if we never find the guy because he's been buried under a pile of rubble, well, we'll have to live with that. But the most important thing is to get him out of the business. We've just about achieved that. It'd be a mistake, I think, to try to set the standard of hunt for the one guy around there. He runs all over. Simultaneously, we need to dismantle, kill, and destroy the rest of this octopus, even if we don't get the head of it.
Well, more focus today on this $25 million reward. Any confidence at all that somebody close to Osama bin Laden would turn him in for money?
Well, I'll be going over there myself if it gets a little higher. Sure, I think, there's no honor among thieves, and there may be a tight group around him, but that's an awful lot of money over there. That's like about $1 billion in American currency. So I wouldn't be surprised we may have 3 or 4 people turned in who don't look like Osama. That we're going to have to sort out which is the real one.
Okay, Richard Pearl, this email question to you. What will America do? This is from Anthony in Denmark. What will America do if Osama bin Laden and his associates have escaped to other countries? A, do you think that's a realistic possibility? If so, where would he go? I assume there's no country in the world right now that would say, we welcome Osama bin Laden. Where would he go, and what does the United States do then if he does escape?
I think it's unlikely that he'll escape. He would not be welcome openly in any country, although there are countries that might conceivably run the risk of harboring him furtively. I think that's unlikely. He's likely to die in Afghanistan. If he did get to another country, then we will have to take this war to the country that he goes to. We're not going to give him sanctuary somewhere else.
Who would be the most likely? Where would be the most likely country? Start with you, Michael Vickers. Perhaps Somalia, a place where he's done business before?
Well, there's been talk of Sudan, where he's been before, Somalia, which is a failed state, or maybe Chechnya. But as Richard said, they're all hard to get to. It's kind of hard to imagine him getting out of Afghanistan. Perhaps he could slip across the border into Baluchistan, but then it's hard to see him getting from there.
And this question. The president says at the beginning, wanted dead or alive. As the president says, the net is tightening, the noose is tightening. A preference, dead or alive?
Let's take him anywhere we can get him. Obviously, it's going to be easier on everybody if he gets killed in battle or some other way. But I'll tell you, one of the arguments that's made is somehow if you put him in a court, he's going to get to spout all this nonsense and convert zillions of people. I don't think that's true. I think that if he were put in an open court, the guy would shrink just like this as the arguments become more and more shallow, just the way they did with Adolf Eichmann when he was tried in Israel. So I don't have any fear of putting the guy on trial.
But what about the flip side? If he dies in an airstrike, do you create a martyr?
No, well, to the extent that he's a martyr already. I'd just as soon see him dead, save us the expense of the trial and the uncertainty of the trial. If we applied our judicial standards, which of course he doesn't and wouldn't, who knows what the evidence would look like.
Pretty overwhelming at this point.
Well, he seems to have admitted it, so if we can take that confession as evidence, then I suppose we'd get a conviction. But I think it's far better if
nobody read him his Miranda rights, but I think we can overlook it this time.
All right, let's hit the pause button right there for a moment. We'll be back. Coming up in the War Room, should Iraq's Saddam Hussein be the next target in the war on terrorism?
Undoubtedly will be Al-Qaeda people still out there because they're spread across the globe.
Let's continue with the question of what bin Laden is going to do himself. Is he going to fight and become a martyr? Is he going to escape to some other country? We have joining us right now Yonah Alexander. He's the author of the book, Osama bin Laden's Al-Qaeda, Profile of a Terrorist Network. He's also the senior fellow and the director of the International Center for Terrorism Studies at the Potomac Institute. Michael Griffin is author of the book, Reaping the Whirlwind, the Taliban Movement in Afghanistan. Mr. Alexander, the question is clear. Will Osama bin Laden fight to the death, or will he escape to another country?
Look, he's fighting all the time, but he's really prepared to die for the cause. In fact, as someone who is a martyr, is going to advance the cause of the Al-Qaeda to the extent that he would mobilize. People would be able to follow him in the future.
Okay, if he goes out with a blaze of glory, but what will be his means of exit? Will he blow up something, or what will he do?
Well, as far as we know from various reports, he's probably moving from cave to cave, and according to the latest estimates, he is still in Afghanistan. But it doesn't mean necessarily that he wouldn't cross the border into Afghanistan, and he has an infrastructure there as well.
You mean into Pakistan?
Yes, to Pakistan, exactly.
So what's your bet? He fights or he runs?
Well, he, at this particular time, is probably alive as far as we know, and he will fight and die on the battlefield like a martyr.
Okay, let me ask you the same question. Let's go on here to the role of the Taliban government. Michael, will the Taliban fight to the death for this man, or will they cut a deal and grab the reward money up to $25 million if they turn him over?
Well, it seems more likely they'd cut a deal and try to get rid of him, or at least hand him over for the reward money. This seems to be a much more Afghan way of doing business rather than dying. Afghans don't make good martyrs. There are no Afghans in Al-Qaeda. They have nothing there to protect.
Okay, interesting. Let's talk about the possible future again of bin Laden. Where will we go? Let's try out these possibilities. Mr. Alexander, you think the best bet is he'll go to Pakistan if he goes somewhere else?
No, Pakistan, clearly, because it's next door, but there are some other possibilities. If he could get, for example, to a failing state like Somalia, he would do that, but I don't think he has any chances to get out of that particular area.
What about Chechnya, which is a breakaway province of the former Soviet Union? Can he hide there? He would be protected there, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. He does have, of course, people there who are fighting for the same kind of cause, but after all, let's not forget that the Russians are there, and he cannot just roam around as he has done in Afghanistan.
Well, he cannot escape, perhaps with or without. Can he? Let me ask you this, Michael. It seems to me the key question is not just this man's mindset and whether he chooses to be a martyr or not, or whether the fight to the death or split. It's whether he has the people around him that he thinks can protect him. Honestly, is there any way that the Taliban, given its gross defeats of the last couple of weeks, can still defend him even if it wants to?
I mean, let me just answer the other question first. There's no way that Osama bin Laden can travel surrounded by a fairly large bodyguard without being spotted. Certainly he'd put up a lot of dust and smoke and a large convoy traveling across Afghanistan in any direction, whether it's to Chechnya or to the Pakistan border, is going to be easily spotted. The second thing is Osama bin Laden appears to need dialysis treatment for his kidney problems. So he's got to be close to some dialysis. He really can't travel far. I would say also that rather than running from cave to cave, Osama bin Laden has been hanging in one single network of caves for as long as was necessary to stay there. He's not a man who's on the run in any way. What is an interesting possibility is if he crosses the border, which you can do on foot or by horseback into Pakistan, and therefore puts the U.S. Into the position of bombing Pakistani territory. I think this could be an interesting little quandary for the Pentagon.
Well, since we're out there doling out money, as the Secretary of Defense made clear today, we've just as soon buy this guy's custody as fight for it. It doesn't take somebody really close to him to sell him out, does it? Couldn't almost anybody in the Taliban who had any kind of connection with the main force be able to say, we know he's in this town, or we know he's near this cave, or whatever?
Yes, I mean, I certainly think there are a number of ministers who've always known where Osama was. Jalaluddin Haqqani is one. He knows precisely where he's been. He's worked with him since 1996, so he could do it. There's a lot of money at stake. They haven't done it yet. That's interesting. Why is that? I wonder.
Well,
maybe they're just not prepared to hand him over.
Could it be gratitude? Or is that not an Afghan impulse?
I mean, certainly Osama bin Laden doesn't trust Afghans enough to let them get close to his to his headquarters. Maybe they're frightened of doing it.
Let me ask you, Mr. Alexander, about the Bin Laden, the whole Bin Laden thing. Where does he? Is he a kind of a apocryphal figure? Does he have to like end his life in a very significant way, or can he just be like the rest of us and run for your life? And if you can't run any further, you die.
No, obviously it's different. Unfortunately, even if he's killed or captured or whatever, you still have the legacy, and you have the other Bin Ladens who are going to follow. Look, it's not just killing a person. You can kill a person, but you cannot kill an idea. So you have to deal with the concept, and the concept means really a long war, particularly the educational process. How do you diffuse theological elements from political conflict?
Okay, let's go to Michael for the final question. How's this going to end, Michael, as you see it in your mind's eye?
Well, I mean, I think I agree with your other interviewee. He'll probably be killed or handed over, but I always felt that the most fitting and the most fitting choice that Osama bin Laden could have made is to allow himself to be taken into custody and handed over to the court in Manhattan, hire the best lawyer in the world and say, well, prove it, because the evidence still doesn't hang together. Prove that I did that.
But why does
that
he
would
keep,
be the perfect
if he
platform.
wants to plow that route, why does he keep confessing generally to the crime?
He doesn't confess to having done the crime.
No, but he confesses to his patronage of it.
Yeah.
His patronage of it, which is an odd position to take if you intend to plead not guilty.
He says that he inspired it, and he approves of it, but he didn't do it. That's his position.
I've tried that before in Manhattan court. Anyway, thank you very much, Michael Griffin, and thank you, Yonan Alexander. Up next, as the Taliban falls in Afghanistan, is Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq the next target in the war on terrorism? We'll talk to the man who was Saddam's top nuclear bomb maker.
I'm through, please. Here you go. This one's on me.
Honey Nut Cheerios, healthy whole grain oats, and the delicious sweet taste of honey.
I'll have the breakfast burrito, please.
Ugh.